Hello everybody, Herp De Derp here, and I'm just getting back into Planetside. I had actually closed out of this game for a second because my OBS was not recording this. Now, what Planetside 2 here is it's an older game. It's been out for 5-6 years, something like that. I've been playing it for a long while, but the basic conceit behind the game is that this is a free-to-play game where the entirety of the experience is being concocted as a massively multiplayer shooter, as opposed to being just your normal shooters like the Team Fortress 2 and the Overwatch model, or like the CSGO and all those, where you're essentially playing on a map and then you're fighting for control of that map and getting to trying to get to any individual victory state. At this point, this war here between these three factions doesn't end until one faction has managed to control the entirety of this whole big world that you see splayed out before you. And I thought, since I was getting logged back in, I would go ahead and just hop onto an air vehicle here so you could get a sense of the scale of the fights that we're talking about here. Get a nice overview of the map. Now, I already tried to record one voiceover on Planetside, but I didn't really succeed with that, so I'll go ahead and condense what I was talking about earlier down, which is that they're going to be Daybreak, the company that makes Planetside, is going to be releasing a new game called Planetside Arena. And my personal opinion of that game is that it's not going to be really worth playing. Goodbye, plane. Oh god. Now, I don't know what I just did, but it looks like it was not intelligent. They appear to have full control of that. Okay then. Well, what happened here? There were a ton of people playing that area of the map. That's why I used it as my waypoint where I wanted to go hang out. And now, nothing? Huh. Big issue about this game, by the way, is that it doesn't matter how skilled you are. As you can see there, I was dropping into a scenario where I was fighting 1v15, 1v20. And a lot of what is the appeal of Planetside is the fact that it's a very logistical game. There's a lot of strategic moves you can make where you're going to be essentially able to win a territory, and it has nothing to do with skill and entirely to do with logistics and your decision making, both individually and as a team and as a unit with other people that are there with you. This Lasher is not able to nail that fellow at all. The Lasher being one of the few weapons that this faction, the Vanu, has that is not just a generic gun. I mean, I'll go ahead and swap over onto a medic class here just so I can prove that point. That a lot of what you're seeing in this game is just generic guns, and you can choose to be playing as the scientists with guns, you can be playing as the rednecks with guns, you can be playing as the fascists with guns, but ultimately it's mostly just variations of who do you want to run around with guns. And that's a big issue with this game in general, and with the game ever since it's been launched. Since when the Planetside was first launched, you would see 1,000-player matches, you would see multiple different 100 versus 100 battles in different areas of the map. But now not so much, just because it's been out for a long time and because people are starting to get tired of it. Oh, hello. I knew there was a fellow around here somewhere. Oh, that was... Considering that that's a sniper rifle. No, that's a scout rifle, I guess. But even so, there's no reason why that should have happened like that. Hey, now we got people coming back in. See what I mean here? Like, we got a giant line of tanks. Since this is a combined arms game, that's where you've got planes, you've got tanks, you've got vehicles, way more than just your usual Call of Duty CSGO shooter 'em up and be a MLG 420 XX Pro Sniper XX kind of person. A lot of logistics going on here, and that's part of why I'm kind of sad that it's being turned into a battle royale game, because what Daybreak, the company who made this, is going to do is they're going to essentially copy paste one of the 4 continental maps from Planetside 2 into this game. Oh. Wait. Wait, what the heck just happened? All I know is I'm stuck here on this bit of geometry. This is kind of silly. Anyways. So, a big part of what's got me upset about that as an idea is partially the fact that this game is still perfectly well intact and has a conceit that's much grander than your average Battle Royale game. But also partly because it feels like it's just another cash grab to design a game that's meant to fail within a year. And let me explain what I mean by that. Fortnite is a really good example of a Battle Royale game that was not built from a Battle Royale game. It was not built like from scratch like PUBG was. Instead, it was designed from a game that was going to be called Fortnite, and it was, you know, it's still a game that you can play. That's essentially just a oh god, I almost got run over. Essentially just a Minecraft-esque kind of game where you're building a base and defending it against waves of enemies, and it's very open-ended. The building element was much more of the game than what was weaponry initially. And what ended up happening was Fortnite got wind of the Battle Royale trend due to working on some of the architecture that was being used to build PUBG at the time. And they ended up getting the opportunity to make their game into a. They decided that they were going to make their game into a Battle Royale game, and it kind of exploded. And because of that, they stopped really developing the player versus enemy, save the world Fortnite. They stopped developing. Oh god, there's someone that's got an angle on us there. That's not good. They stopped developing another game that they were working on called Paragon, and because of that, overall Epic Games made a ton of money building Fortnite for obvious reasons, but they also kind of lost a lot of the identity and a lot of the replayability behind all of the games all of the versions of the games that they were trying to make. And a big issue with Planetside is that it's having issues along those same lines. Hey, there we go. First F. Fire. Oh dear. Okay, I have a good angle to shoot at that. Those people are just gonna shoot me down. Not really in a safe location here.
Not eluded us. Fight harder.
But apparently they're not pushing up to me, which is okay here. Okay. Let's go ahead and throw this down. Shield region zone. Sorry, combat's getting a bit intense here, and I just generally. Oh, wow. That's a lot of people coming from over there. They have to have dropped the Sunderer down as a spawn point. Again, like I said, a lot of this game is logistical. There you go there, buddy. Oh dear, someone's up top of us farming, all three of us. And now I'm dead, and so the other ones around me. Like I said, it's a very logistical game. And a big part of the issue, I guess I'll talk about this while I'm dead and not respawn in, is just that the game feels like there's a lot of bits of it that have been copy-pasted over. And I'm not just talking about weapons being copy-pasted between the different factions in the game, because there's a lot of material elements that get repeated within any given map. There's the amp stations, there's the tech plants, there's the biolabs, and by the same token, those are huge, big, strategically important facilities, so it makes sense that there's some similarities there. But in a lot of ways, the fact that they're essentially just copy-pasted map units also. Yeah, I know we're losing Alpha Bit. I'm not gonna spawn back in though. Not yet. I'm talking, game. I'm talking. A lot of what's going on there is that, because they're so similar, it also means that there's some systemic problems with things like biolabs where they just become too easy to defend, and you can kind of just turtle there. And by the same token, Hassan here was not one of the original maps, right? The original three maps were Amarish, which is a big grassy mountainous area. Then there's Indar, which is a desert area, and then there's Esamir, which is all icy. And Hassan was a map that was produced after the other three. And what happened was that Daybreak released a map that was essentially unfinished. It's got a lot of these new swampy, foresty areas, which is pretty cool. But by the same time, Hassan has all these construction site areas. Construction site Epsilon, construction site Omega, construction site Gamma, and as you can see here by looking at the map, they're all essentially just placeholder buildings. Here's another construction site down here. Essentially this map was half-assed. Half of the buildings in it were placeholders. And when this was released a few years back, there was a little bit of an outcry to the community, but the people still were happy that this was the first major content expansion for the game, and it drew in a little bit of attention, which I think was why the developers released the game. This map was they wanted to draw more attention to Planetside and see if they could actually keep on cashing in on some of the crazy initial popularity that the game had. In fact, I'll even go to a construction site right here. Why not? Just so I can show it off, since there's one that's about to be contested. This is what the construction sites look like. It's a very bland, very generic facility. The defenders spawn at one end, the attackers can have a lot of cover at the other end where they can build their vehicles and whatnot. And then there's one big square box that you get to fight in. It's very, very simple, very much a place for one building. This one has a little bit more cover than some of the other construction sites, but not like any special amount. It's not a huge amount different, and holy cow, those are all tanks that you see there on the map. Scary. Oh god, very scary. Not good. So, and I think it's kind of systemic too, because the new battle arena the new Planetside arena. It's essentially going to be a battle royale game. It's not going to be different from Planetside 2 in any major regards, other than the fact that they're reskinning a lot of the models to make it not obvious that it's basically just a copy-paste, you know? Other than that, it's not going to be much different. And that's kind of problematic, because it's a symptomatic problem of the game industry as a whole right now. That they want to publish games that are able to make them money. I tried. Oh, he got killed by an ally, though. That's unfortunate. The gaming industry is publishing games that are meant to be throwaways. They're publishing... you see big agglomerations like EA publishing games that are basically just throwaway games that you're meant to play for a year and not really enjoy after that point. And that's where Fortnite's been ending up, where it's losing popularity, and oh, that's not good. Oh yeah, they have a gunner. I'm not... This is just not a good situation, is it? Yeah, logistically speaking, I think we are very much in the minority. I'm just gonna not bother fighting this particular fight. Get somewhere where I can actually have an impact, I guess. But the like I said, there's a lot of ways in which this game could have been improved. The weapons between the different factions could have been made to feel different from one another. The game could have had the maps could have had a lot of their buildings redesigned so that they don't feel as similar to one another. They could have had... I can actually go all the way down here. Holy cow. Let's do that. Let's cross over to the other side of the map and fight against the blue faction for a change. Point being, there was a lot of... Since this had a free-to-play model, there was a lot of ways in which this game could have been improved by adding more content to it, by giving people a reason to keep playing it. But instead, Daybreak went on to work on some other projects, and instead of giving... This is just another one of the... This is just the exact same thing. I mean, it's got this big pile of cover there instead, but it's basically just the same set of buildings. Holy cow, this was so sloppily built. And you see what I'm getting at, right? I still enjoy Planetside. I think that it's ultimately one of the most chill shooters that you will ever play, because of the fact that it feels like you're fighting in an actual war, and you can kind of just decide when you want to stop fighting your individual fights as opposed to having to keep playing a losing battle. Oh, he's got that already. But like I said, it's a very, very chill experience. This guy back alive. It's a very chill experience because you're deciding where you want to make your fights, and you also feel like you can determine how much of an impact you want to have on what's going on. And it's also a game where there's some strategic importance to decision making as opposed to just being a rock'em sock'em shooter experience. You know? But by the same token, it's been mismanaged. Daybreak is essentially going along while a lot of the other things are happening in the industry, and holy cow, I should not have been standing there. They're going along the same cash grab kind of philosophy, where you take a functional game that, like a Call of Duty or like a Fortnite or like Planetside, and you just see how many different variations you can make on that game. You publish the Black Ops, you publish the Battle Royale, you publish every different variation on the same game that you can come up with. And by doing so, these games aren't actually devoting themselves towards making sure that a fully functional, fully fledged title that has a lot of replayability is being kept interesting, is keeping people in the mood to play it over time, which is kind of sad because there are a few games out there, you know, some older titles like your Nintendo Smash Bros and whatnot that have been out for 15 or more years that people still want to play because they were designed so well at the beginning and they had a lot of replayability. Oh my god, flashbacks. I don't know who threw that, but thank goodness I have enough experience with those to know how to get back in the cover. And like I said, it's kind of symptomatic as the industry as a whole, where everyone's just going for the quick buck rather than taking a work of art, or what could be a work of art, and letting it kind of languish and turn into just another shooter game. Anyways, that's kind of the way I feel about this whole thing. Throw that revive grenade, see if it picks up some people here. He will murder me if I'm not careful here. Oh, hello! Shotgun man! Running into a giant swarm of allies. Oh god! C4! Nothing. Oh well. Alright, well, hopefully you've been able to get a decent view of how chaotic Planetside is and how much, well, crud. How much fun this is to play, and how you can essentially decide for yourself how big of a fight you want to take on and where you want to be fighting. It's just it is such a blast, and like I said, it's a very chill game. So if you want to check it out, this game is still fully functional. I would call it a dead game more because it's not being updated hardly anymore, but then because it's not being played, because there are still plenty of people in this game. You can still get into matches instantly because you're not having to wait for matchmaking, you're just loading into the same open facility that everyone else is. Yeah, we'll survive all that. But anyways, that's my 2 cents about the gaming industry as a whole and the way that this is being managed at the moment. So, hope you're enjoying this. Hope you got something out of my bit of commentary here. And yeah, this is what Planetside looks like right now in 2019. Holy cow, I'm okay. Oh, this is that's the orbital strike coming down, isn't that? I'm very much worried that is an orbital strike coming down. Oh, it was just close by. It was probably hitting their end of the fight rather than ours. Got him. Alrighty. Go ahead and finish playing out this life, and then I'll call it a day, I guess. Through the smoke here, I think I can actually get to the point. Yeah, that is a well-placed smoke grenade. Man. Come on. I throw on one of these things. Ah, crud. Yeah, I got a couple kills there. I'll take it. Alrighty. Well, we'll call that a day. No, I'm not gonna take the revive there. We'll call that a day for Planetside. Fun game. Highly recommend it. Herp De Derp out.